we go, Suburbia Pet Shop Boys. I'm in the studio with Alice, who runs a company called Pyramid Health, and they do boot camps. And we've been talking not so much about the business itself or what she does, but how she got into business. And it comes out really that she's probably a very good example for a lot of people who might be in the same place, might be thinking about not working for somebody, setting up a business. I'm going to ask Alice now, because we got to the point where you'd got started, you'd got all that passion, you'd managed to make the transition from being part-time. What went right for you? What went wrong for you? And with hindsight, what might you have done differently?
Well, I guess what went right for me is that I'd set up some classes already, so I had well-established classes, so I knew, okay, that I was probably going to be okay at that point.
So, because the lesson of that, isn't it, is that the business model worked.
Yes.
And you'd got some clients, and you'd got some revenue.
Yep.
So before you'd sort of completely taking the dive from the high board.
I'd already...
Which is absolutely crucial when you start a business, I think.
It is, and I think a lot of people mistakenly think as well that they're going to set up a business, they're magically going to have lots of clients without advertising, so they decide to set up a business, they get themselves a website, they get themselves an email, they get themselves a phone, and then they sit and wait, and nothing happens.
Yep.
So, that, again, like I said to you, having the drive and then the motivation is important, but you also need to be able to apply that drive and motivation, and you need to get out there and you need to find the people, because at the end of the day, to start with, people aren't going to come to you. I mean, now it's different because we do get a lot of people through word of mouth, but you do have to go out and find the business to start with, and that can be very time consuming.
Well, very often people in small businesses don't understand marketing, and they don't understand how important it is to actually get something running. They think it comes free, whereas in fact, if you don't do the marketing, you don't get the leads and you don't get the clients.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
That, in some ways, that and your time is the real big investment in a business like yours, isn't it?
Yeah, totally. I mean, the marketing, I've never studied marketing, but I was pretty switched on from the start, and I realised that marketing is obviously an important part of it. I mean, even in the gym that I worked at, we didn't have to market because it was a company gym, so we had to market in terms of marketing to the people in the building, but there was never any external marketing.
So what's your kind of marketing message? Is it fun, good, value, all those things?
Yeah, all of it really. So it's, we say we put the fun back into fitness. So I want people to come along to the classes and actually enjoy it, not necessarily feel like they're doing exercise. I'm very much a firm believer of making it a social, fun place. And I do have a lot of people that I think probably just come for the social side of things more than anything else.
And why not?
Exactly.
Why not?
Well, that's it. I mean, everyone's got different reasons for coming. It's, like I think I said last week, going to the cinema or going anywhere else like that, it's not necessarily a cheap night out anymore. So coming to one of the exercise classes, people get to know each other, they meet friends there. I've had people making really good friends by coming to the classes, and I very much promote that as well. So I like people to feel comfortable, when they come along. It can be daunting going to a class, because people think as well that they're going to go there, you're going to have all these, lycra-clad, skinny people that
I think they're going to meet the body fascists.
Yeah, exactly. And it's not like that at all. We've got, I've got all ages. I think I said last week, got people up into their 60s.
Well, that's
I've got people in their late teens coming along as well, and anywhere in between. And a lot of our classes are mixed. We have males and females. Some are females only, but it is a good cross section. And I do promote, and we run social events as well, so that if people want to come along and get to know people outside of that atmosphere, they can do as well. So I'm very much a firm believer in that. So yeah, really that's our message. That we do put, we know going to the gym can get boring for some people if they're not talking to anybody, if they've got their iPods in and no one's chatting to each other. So the classes just like to make it a bit more of a fun atmosphere. I've now got instructors working for me, which I'll go to in a little bit later on. But again, I promote that with all the instructors, so we're all very much approachable and all very much follow the same ethos.
No, that's good. So you did all these things well.
Yep.
And I don't want to end the interview on a down note, so we'll talk about something else after. But did anything go wrong?
Oh, yeah, totally.
I mean, give me an example.
Well, I've set up classes before that are just totally flunked, and they're
How do you mean flunked?
Well, just done all the marketing. They're no different than any other classes we're doing, but they might be different. And didn't get the numbers. Yeah.
I was about to say bums on seats, but it's feet on treadmill.
Yeah, exactly, that sort of thing. Yeah, feet on the floor. So, and we knew at that point that it couldn't be the classes, because we were doing them successfully elsewhere. So it was either, you know, a combination of the time or the location, perhaps that we hadn't done the correct marketing. Other things that I've done, I have been totally ripped off in the past with marketing.
I think this is a problem that a lot of people go through when they create a business. They actually have a good business model, and it doesn't quite go right. And instead of making one or two small changes, which are probably enough to get it right, they tend to think the whole thing's wrong.
Yeah, and they give up.
And was that true for you? Did you just have to make a few tweaks to it when it didn't work, or was it big things?
Some of them was literally, you know, just sort of just scrapping it. I mean, I've made a lot of marketing mistakes over the past few years, and I probably will continue to make them. But unfortunately, with the marketing, it's unless you try it, you don't always know.
Well, isn't that one of the big lessons that the marketing people tell us, that you know, you have to make small changes to your marketing to see what the impact is.
That's it, exactly.
Do it progressively.
Yeah, that's it. So, I mean, it's, you know, it's an ongoing thing, and I say I'm not a marketing person, and I never have been, and that's you know, it is an important part of it. Like I say, not so much now because we're getting a lot of word of mouth.
Okay.
But it is, you know, it is a difficult thing to do, because you do have to try and become everything. You have to be a salesperson, you have to be a marketer, you have to be good at what you do.
You have to do everything, and you have to do it right.
Basically, it's everything that a company might do for you. You're doing it on your own.
Sure. I mean, you know, how long down the line were you confident that you could get people to help you? Because it's kind of spending money with other people that's a big hurdle for some people, isn't it, to get, you know, they get the business sort of up and running on the back of their efforts, and then, but to turn it into business, they need to get other people who are doing it on their behalf.
They do, yeah. I mean, I've in the last 12 months, I've actually taken on, I have somebody now who does my admin for me. I've also got...
Oh, I bet that feels good.
It feels wonderful, although it probably doesn't for her. She knows who she is if she's listening. I've also now got 8 other instructors that teach sessions for me. And I think one of my big problems as well originally was that I was too scared to say no. So any classes that were being offered to me, any work that was being offered to me, I was like, yes, yes, yes. And I'd got to the point, and I really had to think about this 6 months ago, where I was doing too much.
Too much.
Because, you know, I had all the physical side of it, I had all my sessions, but then it was, you know, the running the business as well. So, I mean, I'm in a good position now where I actually have people approaching me to come on board and work with me, which is fantastic. And I've been lucky because the instructors that I do have working for me, I've known them already. So, you know, I've known either that I've been working with them previously, or I've known them because they've been coming to my sessions and they're already qualified. So I do have people approaching me. So like I say, that's a pretty good situation to be in, because obviously,
sure.
I mean, the problem is if it's just you in your business as well, then, you know, there's no real room for growth or expansion, and it's almost like you've created a job for yourself, I guess. Whereas if you have other people on board, obviously there's more opportunity for me to grow my business, and then I can think about running the business more than sort of being directly involved.
I think you touched on something there as well about getting overtired and, you know, eventually reaching the point where you have to get somebody. But there's some clues on your website, isn't there? Because it's eat well, exercise well, enjoy yourself, sleep well, relax, all those things.
Indeed, all the things that I probably wasn't doing.
No, but if you do all those things, you know, it makes life more enjoyable, doesn't it?
Well, it does, that's it. I mean, it's, you know, it's about getting that balance. And unfortunately, I think, again, people these days, we're getting our balance a bit wrong. Work seems to be taking over. As I said before, there is an obesity crisis, but it's because people are then, because they're working too long hours, they're then eating the wrong things, they might not be sleeping well, you know, things go out of the window. And again, coming to the sessions, even if they come once a week, it gives them that hour of me time so that they can, you know, feel good about themselves. And
just on the food advice, because I'm always amazed at how we get cycles of contradictory advice. But the current advice seems quite sound. It's you know, eat the minimum of processed food. You know, eat fresh food if you can.
Yep.
Don't eat massive portions.
Yep.
Eat it regularly and take a bit of exercise. But it's about the quality of what you eat, isn't it? By and large, if you've got to cook it yourself, it's probably all right.
Yeah, it is.
As long as it's not larded up to the eyeballs.
Well, that's it, exactly. I mean, I guess it's going back to how we used to eat before the processed foods came in, and it's just...
Well, it's also, we don't get as much exercise.
No, I mean, don't.
You know, I'm so old, I remember as a kid, you know, we used to get sent out to play. You know, we didn't have all these war games on the computers and on the game things. So, I think children exercised more. I think we didn't have as many cars. You know, people walked to either get a bus or a train, or they cycled. And that stuff is, unless you've got one of those jobs and there are less and less people who do it, who do something physical, you just don't get enough of it.
They don't.
You have to supplement what you do with some of what you do.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like you say, people aren't doing as much. They might get in their car to go to work. They'll park up. They'll go and sit at their desk all day. They get back in their car, go home, and then sit down and watch telly. So probably the minute what they've done is just walk around the office a little bit,
Sure.
and that's about it. And same thing. I think more kids are being driven to school and less are walking.
Alice, it's been great to talk to you, and I wish you really well for the future of your business. I think you're a great role model for anybody out there who's considering doing something similar. If you want to check out what Alice does, go to www.pyramidfitness.co.uk or ring 07500 772146. And thanks again, Alice.
Thank you ever so much.